to all these different places in Chrome, which that's what I was doing. I was going underneath the three vertical dots, going down to my settings and looking at all these different places inside of Chrome to see where I need to go. And so it's talking about the individual site permissions, the individual app permissions, which we do have permissions for each one of these apps. And so Google was sending me to permissions because I have, with the Google AI Assistant, I am able to upload an image into the AI Assistant, and I'm able to speak my voice. And so I've given it permission to do that. And so what I expressed to the Google AI assistant that I'm talking to in the Google search, I said, so I'm thinking the software engineers for Google and all these other websites would need to create a separate permission for speakers. And so they need to grant permission to the speakers of the computer and have a separate permissions button in there to select, I'm going to read the response because it gave a really interesting response. You've hit on a really interesting point that developers and browser designers definitely have definitely considered. While it might seem intuitive to have a separate permission for speakers, similar to microphone and cameras, there are reasons why browsers like Chrome approach it differently. Here's the breakdown of the thinking behind this approach. Output versus input. Microphones and cameras are input devices. They capture potentially sensitive information, your voice, your image, from the environment and transmit it to the website or application. Therefore, explicit permission prompts are crucial for privacy and security. Now, I was thinking, the output, okay, yes, that's input, but output is also crucial for privacy, isn't it? Because there's some people who may not be able to use headphones. And so if you don't want something being blasted out for everyone else to hear, wouldn't you need an output for the purposes of privacy? So where you can select and have the ability to, let's call it a kill switch, kill switch for your output device, because I often find that I'm messing with my volume all the time to try to lower the volume. So like TikTok, for example, it just keeps playing. TikTok plays over everything. I can shut it off completely. It will still be playing over YouTube videos. That's what it does. And so speakers are output devices. They primarily play sound from the website. While an unwanted sound can be annoying, it generally is not considered the same level of security or privacy risk as a website secretly recording your microphone or camera. I'm thinking, yes, it is. Output devices can be even more intrusive. So we're talking about input and output devices. So when you input, you're giving permission. And that's what the website says. You've consented to give permission. Now, have I consented to give permission from the output? So okay, think about this. I'm going to use an extreme example. I don't want to use that example. Oh, yes, I will use that example. Okay, I go to a website that's clickbait. I'm a good God-fearing church person. I'm a pastor. Hello, gangster. Yeah. Hello. So I'm a good God-fearing pastor. And I'm in the process of going to a clickbait website. I don't realize that I'm in my church chapel. And I click on that website. I click on that website in the middle of church because I have something I wanted to show somebody. And next thing you know, there's a bunch of adult content, pornography up on the church website because of the fact that, and it's blasting throughout the church chapels because of the fact that it's output. I didn't choose to go there. I did not choose to go there. That's not something I wanted. I mean, I clicked on the link, but I didn't know what was there. I had absolutely no idea what was there. So So related to privacy, yeah, I mean there's different levels of privacy. Yes, we import our voice into Google. We input images into Google. But we're not choosing to output things. So therefore this means that there's an output level of that violates security and rights. So for example, I'm going to use this again. Let's say I'm a lawyer. I have to use this one because they're under non-disclosure agreements for their clients. So I'm a lawyer. I'm I decide that I want to listen to some texts from an email, and maybe I don't realize that my phone is hooked up to the court system's PA system. And so I'm listening privately on my I'm listening privately on my headphones, my Bluetooth. I've got them hooked up to the system, but it's also playing throughout the whole court system. Next thing so there's a level of permissions. It's kind of like, let me go back to when I was in college. Oh, why should your channel keep? I don't know why it's bugging out. It is bugging out really, really bad at times. But let me go back to when I worked for the college, and this is over 20 years ago. So I worked for a college, and so I realized that I could be accidentally printing on the wrong computer. So printing on the wrong printer, I should say, because they had the ability for us to hook up to different printers within the college. And sometimes I was printing things out. I had no idea where they were going to, and I was waiting for them to be on my computer, and then I realized, or on my printer in my specific transcript office, and then I realized they're not printing out. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Then I looked and it's like, oh, somehow this got messed up, that it's printing out someplace else in the college. I had no idea which department it was even going to. I love Caplabaros and Black Cook, and so I'm talking about. I think all of us are having problems with our channels right now. A lot of people are expressing that they're having problems. I've been having a big slowdown on my laptop, and so I have to. I'm going to share with you guys what's going on. Dipho Dijohola, Ola, Ola compadre. I can't get that roll out. Compadre. Um, so a lot of us have been having a lot of issues on our computer, and I've raised the issue about the tapping too, because in some places on the screen with the laptop, when playing some of my little games and things, I have to tap like 5 different times just to get my little game to do what I want it to do. I don't know why that's going on. Maybe it is a bug. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But we were discussing about the input and the output settings in Chrome. And, so I always like to think, well, this is something I need to notify the software engineers about. It could be something that would be helpful to everybody, because we have the ability to make a choice if we want to put something into the search. And if we want to put a picture into the search, we have those choices to do that. But as far as the input-output devices, so I mean, that can be input into the machine, input into many different places, input into an app, and sometimes there's the gotcha apps too. Where they just gotcha, and it's like, well, I really didn't intend on that to happen, but it did, and so, but there's no permissions for output. That's what I've noticed. There's no permissions for output. There's a lot of things that there's not permissions for, that are separate, and which would more or less be a learning tool, I think, probably related to things going to the output of your computer. And I've always raised this issue for people who want to do what they want to do. If people want to look at the adult content, I've always said that's their business to look at it. I don't, because there's varying degrees of what people, how hot is it in your state? It's actually cooled off lately, but it's still pretty hot. It's close to 80 degrees. And with a massive amount of humidity, from a flooding event. We did have a flooding event. And so it's not as hot as what it had been, which is kind of nice. It's cooled off nicely, actually, but it's still pretty hot. And the humidity tends to make it worse. Um, are you from Texas? I'm from the United States of America. Um, I'm familiar with Texas. I do have family in Texas. I will say that. I do have family in Texas. Are you from Texas? My I think it's okay for me to say that my daughter is in Texas. She's in the Texas area. That's all. Now she actually will. She tells specifically which city she's in. I'm not going to tell that. I'm going to leave that for her. I'm not going to tell on that. No, I just assumed because oh, Texas is having flooding too. Well, that's quite interesting that Texas is having. Is there a hurricane going on? Do we have a hurricane or something, or is it just a coastal storm? Does anybody? Oh my gosh, I've got the AI mode here in incognito as well. Now, I mean, incognito, it's still going into the system. It's still going public. So when we're using Wi-Fi, all of this is still, it still goes public no matter what. Oh, there's a really cool new box that Google has here too. Let me look at the weather and see what I can find out about if there's anything about the weather, because I believe Google had put out pixel weather at one point. And so we could actually get weather. We don't need to look at the television. Now with the internet, we get localized for our personal space weather. That's what we get for our personal space weather, typically is what we get. Um, oh, this is interesting. Trump raises India tariffs to 50% over Russian oil purchases. That's that's interesting. Oh, that's quite interesting that he did that. That little stinker. Um, so I guess they're going to be mad and probably leaving soon. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. I just have to just check out from listening to the president because he thinks he's got it all, everything made. So Texas lawmakers have walked out even before current redistricting battle. Okay, yes, I did hear about that. No, I am not a politician in Texas. And yet, this is a story I have heard about. I've tried to avoid talking about it because I know people are so burnt out on politics. But Governor Greg Abbott has sent a coalition to arrest the the majority. I think it was the majority leader of his state, of the legislators, and the other politicians for orchestrating a walkout to not have to vote on redistricting in the state. So, I mean, CNN is crazy when they put that up there. Deportation fallout, the farmer loses half of his workforce. Now he's losing his crop too. Um, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Um, I really just don't. Oh, Senator Marsha Blackburn says she's running for governor of Tennessee. Oh, that's probably going to go over like a lead balloon. Isn't she I think she's a Democrat. Yeah, she might win. I don't know. Um, it, yeah, I wonder how many books she's going to come up with. McDonald's sales rebound after burger giant hammers value message. Okay, Tim Cook to join Trump at White House for Apple investment announcement. Oh, that's new. 1 hour ago. Let's see what this is. Oh, the meeting comes as Trump has pushed Apple to make its products in America, which experts say would jack up iPhone prices by hundreds of dollars. I mean, if that's the case, if that's actually true, um, oh, no, just assumed are because of the flooding. If that, I mean, iPhones are already a couple $1,000s, aren't they? So, I mean, are they trying to say that if Apple made the phones in the United States, that in order for them to make a profit and profiteer and price gouge, they would have to jack the prices up to like $3,000 for phone per phone? Is that, I mean, is that what they're trying to say? I mean, because I mean, that's the only way that I see, okay, if we follow the history of a lot of companies and they want to make a profit, a lot of them try to take their business outside of the United States, and that's how they make additional profits. As a CEO, they're doing things to try to make profits for the CEO and for the company. And so Apple is the whole reason Apple is not popular is because the price is so expensive. It has nothing to do with nothing. It has nothing to do with where it's made at, and it has nothing to do with nothing. It's just they're being cheap and they're being greedy. And they might have a market over um, some intellectual property and a area of entertainment, because I think they have a lot of celebrities that, I mean, they're Wall Street. Well, I mean, what do we expect? They're Wall Street. And so, um, so Gangster one for some reason wanted to talk about church, so I don't know why they wanted to talk about church. I mean, gangsters in church, is that what we're looking at? Is gangsters in church? Oh my goodness, I have no idea who this woman is. She passed away as a very young woman. The Walking Dead actress Kelly Mack dies at the age of 33. I had no idea who she was. So they're just putting people up. I have no idea who they are. Never heard of them. Let's see here. I'm kind of looking through some of the Google news here. I don't think I've mentioned Google in quite some time, have I? And I need to do that every once in a while. I'm sorry, Google, for forgetting to do that. Because I'm trying to solve the world's problems. And that is such a big toll on myself related to it. That's a taxing toll on myself related to trying to do that. And so I just have to check out a reality from time to time. Ow. Let's see, direct to consumer. Nah, I don't care about that stuff. I really don't, because most of it's just entertainment and stuff. But yeah, we're having a lot of buggy things going on. Um, I think I'm going to end my stream now. Maybe I've made it too long. I don't know. I have no idea. I know I need to keep it short. So anyway, that's it.